Hello you, my name is Emmanuel and I got metal in my heart. So I guess I'm kinda technically like a cyborg, evolved, I don't know. Let's see. If you clicked on this video, either somebody that you know or you yourself is unfortunately in the same situation I was or I am right now. That means that either you or your person is going to have a heart surgery. For the people that actually don't know me, as a beginning, let's talk a little about myself. Most people know me as Emma, good friend, good husband, or Mr. International. I turned 24 years old in April and I got diagnosed with heart failure at the beginning of this year, means 2023. This recording actually marks the 2-month special with the machine that I have right now in my heart and that I need to live a regular life. It actually took some time to get used to having a machine that supports your heart, and also that you know that you have to carry it around with you at any time given. The machine I was mentioning is actually called LVAD. LVAD stands for Left Ventricular Assist Device. But what is that exactly?
HeartMate 3 heart pump is a left ventricular assist device, or LVAD, sometimes called a VAD for short. It helps your heart pump blood through your body. It has been surgically implanted just below the heart, where it is attached to your heart's left ventricle and to your ascending aorta, the main artery feeding blood to the entire body. The pump helps your heart by taking over the work of your left ventricle and pumping oxygen-rich blood to the body. The pump is made mostly of titanium. A small electric motor inside the HeartMate 3 drives the pump, providing blood flow similar to a healthy heart. Although the HeartMate 3 LVAD is virtually silent, it is normal to sometimes feel the pump working. To power the pump, a tube called the driveline passes from the LVAD through the skin in your abdomen. The driveline consists of 2 cables, the pump cable and the modular cable. One end of the pump cable is connected to the pump. The other end exits your body. The modular cable connects to the pump cable at the modular inline connector, and the other end connects to the system controller.
For a regular person, they say that it's somewhat between 5 to 6 liters. If you do sports or anything else, it can go up to 8, which in my case was kind of bad because my heart itself was at one point that it only did 1.3 liters for the whole body. But the LVAD isn't a lifelong option. You can actually go by your day, do your daily things, but you have to know that you can at most probably go somewhat between 10 to 15 years if everything goes fine with the machine, but you have to think further what will happen after. So the idea behind the machine is to actually just facilitate the time for the patient until he, she, or whatever is finding a new donor for a new heart. So yes, normally it's going to stick with you until you have a heart transplantation. You don't know when it is going to happen. So that's a waiting process. If something is wrong with the machine or just some alerts where you kind of need to rush to the hospital at that very moment. But normally, we don't hope that it's going that far. You have to go maybe once every 4 to 6 weeks to the hospital to get a checkup, and then they will see what happened in that period of time and if they need to do any adjustments with the medicine or with the machine itself. The batteries are just batteries. But at this point, you may ask what happened before surgery.
We got a #1 victory royale, yeah, Fortnite, we about to get down.
And also maybe how I am feeling right now. So let's start with the first question. Like I said in the beginning of the video, I got diagnosed with heart failure, or to be more precise, with myocarditis at the beginning of the year. Myocarditis is also a good old heart muscle inflammation. At first, I was actually just exhausted about doing the easiest tasks. It was going from going down the stairs, walking to the train station. I can actually show you how far it is, and it is not far. So look, that's a train station right there. So walking that distance was actually exhausting me, that between the time I had to arrive to the city, I was really just breathing hard all the way. Pause. So to start with, I went to my general practitioner just to make sure that I am not dying. So to start with, he prescribed me some medication to make sure that I wouldn't get a pulmonary embolism, which for the German people is a Lungenembolie. And then he also sent me to a cardiologist. So I went to do a checkup there of my heart, and he already told me that it doesn't look too good because one side of my heart is way too big. Because of the inflammation, it grew, and because I was sick and I didn't recover enough, it got worse. After I went home with a list of medication that I would need to take in to make sure that my heart gets enough rest, that it doesn't get worse. Then he also said that I couldn't do any sports for the moment. There would be a chance that if everything goes well, that I could go back to playing American football like I did before. I couldn't go back to work either because I had to move a lot. So he also said that that's a no-go. After that I took in the medication, first days actually went pretty well. I didn't feel better. I also didn't feel worse, but for me it didn't matter because I knew anyways that the medication will only work over time, and also that it can take up a lot of time to actually work their magic. But somehow at one point the medication that I took in didn't really work their magic as I was hoping they would too. So at this point I started feeling worse and worse with every day. Actually, at first it was kinda high, so I was doing bad, but for me, I guess people were doing worse, so I wasn't feeling too bad. After the 3 weeks mark, I had to go to the emergency room 4 times in 5 days. After the 4th time, they actually kept me in the hospital and I was hospitalized for 15 days. In that period, I started having a pulmonary embolism, which actually made that there was water inside of my legs that the heart couldn't really work with. I started feeling better, and I also was actually thinking about going back to what I used to do. But then the day of my release, I started coughing up again, which at first I thought isn't a bad thing. So I just went back home, or actually to my mom's place, so she can kind of have a look over me, and in case something would happen, that I have somebody that can rush me to the hospital. But the coughing got so bad that I actually started puking water, and also that the medication that I had to take, which was a bigger list than it actually was before, I couldn't take it because as soon as I swallowed it down, it actually came back up really quickly. And the worst thing about that period was right next to my heart that there's something wrong, which was due to me having still water inside of my body. I was also the point where it started that I couldn't sleep anymore because I couldn't lay flat, not at all. There were times that I actually went to sleep on the couch, just that I had a sitting position, or that I was just staying up all night until my body couldn't stay up any longer and I just fell asleep for somewhat around 3 to 4 or 5 hours. So after 4 days of basically just doing the same activity, which was puking, I decided that it was time to go back to the ER. It was the same process again. They did some checks. There was also actually at the beginning a moment where they weren't sure if they had to do some little surgeries to kind of help my heart or not, but we didn't do it still. I stayed there for a couple of days, and the first days actually weren't too bad. I was still feeling bad. I still couldn't sleep. I didn't eat as much as I was supposed to eat, but in general, I wasn't actually feeling too bad.
Congratulations, you played yourself.
Just still that I couldn't walk a lot or walk fast, lift heavy things. I was actually feeling good, kinda.
Stop the cap.
Not gonna lie, I was in a bad state, but my mind was alright. My mind was cool. So I think after being in the hospital again for 2 weeks, they did another ultrasound of my heart where they seen that the flap itself wasn't moving and that it actually got worse. So the only options I had was either I stay in the hospital for I don't know how much time and get a heart transplant in that period, or we do the LVAD surgery. I stay a couple more days, go to rehab, and then I can go back home and actually live like I do right now for the moment. which isn't too bad. So I had the talk with the cardiologist. He explained to me what it actually is. He also recommended me that he can send somebody over that actually have it already, that I can have a look and that I can talk to the person to see how did it affect your life based on what did you do for work before, how is social life, and how she felt in general. Fast forward 5 days to March 13th was when I had the surgery. I can't remember much that happened before surgery because at the night before I couldn't sleep again. Not that I was scared, and I knew I couldn't sleep, so I stayed basically over. The time that I was talking to anesthesia, I actually already fell asleep, so they just did what they had to do and that's it. I fell asleep March 13th in the morning around 7:15. I woke up the following day and fell back asleep again for half a day. The first 3 days actually been the worst days post-surgery because you just need to get used to taking a lot of medication. You will feel weak, that's another point. I was able to sleep again, but also just because it was a big surgery, not feeling that strong, and after being already in the hospital, your body just suffers from that and there's not much things you can do except of staying in bed. Sometimes they will help you just to eat or just to have protein drinks to not starve. I know that everybody is different. I didn't really feel a lot of pain. I guess day 6, rehab for me started, and rehab at first was basically just getting out of bed in a special way. They would tell you how you need to cough because in case there would be some water again that you need to cough out, that you know that you need to hold yourself on the left and to the right, that the pectoral area, so your chest, as it has been cut up during surgery, doesn't go back up. It was actually not that good of a time for myself because I hated doing it. I was feeling weak and I wanted to just stay in bed all day, but I had to learn, like I said, how to get out of bed, how to walk some steps, walking left and right and just doing some movements, but I hated it. So that was one of the times where I wasn't feeling that good physically and also mentally. Fast forward a couple days, there was a pain that started evolving because it was actually the heart just being that big from surgery and also the machine that takes up space that just touched the rib nerves, and it was going this, which isn't really doing good for you and your body. But after that was under control, I was able to go to the rehab center. And the rehab center was tough because I still didn't want to do a lot of things. I wanted to really just stay in my room and just do me. But the goal in the rehab center was that you learn how to live again, that you need to wake up in the morning, that you need to eat, what activities you have to do during the day, and also that you can do whatever you want after you've done what you had to do, because has to be done. The funny thing about it was that there have been a lot of patients, but I was the only one in my 20s, and the rest of the patients were probably your grandparents' age. Most likely your grandparents' age. So take a guess how many friends I did there. Write it in the comments down below. Tell me how many shooters I left in there when I left because they stayed for longer as they were older and they needed more help. So now I am at my place for 3 weeks. And in that time, it's really just getting used to be alive again, because when you have what I had, you know that you couldn't really do a lot of things, and that in case it would continue how it did, that you might think about bad things that can happen, and that they will probably happen when you don't do what is necessary at one point. But yeah, I'm home now. I feel more or less good. There are still a lot of things that I cannot do like I was doing them before, but in general I say I feel well. Just a lot of pressure of doing things again. Like, man, I cannot complain. I know there are people in a worse situation, so I just do me. I just do me. My man. There are a lot of things that you still can enjoy. Looking back at it, you have to be strong mentally. I guess physically it's just going to happen, your body will change, but mentally is where you have to be tough. It is really not that easy, but I mean, life is good. You know what I mean?
Life is good. You know what I mean? Like,
If I was able to do it, I think everybody can do it. It's really just how strong mentally you are, how much support you can get from your family and friends, because that will also be important just to get your mind going. This is just time that is going over and over. You will feel better as you don't think about the bad things. Anyways, anywho, so enough said from my side. If you want to support me, down in the link description there's a link to my GoFundMe to help me just cover a lot of stuff, because there is a lot of stuff. That's very appreciated. Also, if you want to see me progressing over time and how it is in a daily standpoint of life, of going back to work again, going back to working out again, doing traveling, even planning traveling, because there is a lot of things that you need to consider with the LVAD.
Leave a subscription. It's just one button. You can click it. You did it before. I did it before.
So why not do it now? Share it with your friends, share it with your family. It is also very appreciated. So if you or somebody that you know had or is going to have the surgery, leave it in the comments down below if you have any questions for it, or if you want to just talk about it and spread the word to each other about different experiences that you have. So yeah, that's life. It's tough, but we kind of roll with it. We roll with it, so that's cool. So Captain Cool out.
Oh my.
Sorry jongens, ik moet op scroll. I'm back. I'm back. We outside. Left ventricular assist device. Yeah.